Hello, everyone. I'm Graham Ledger, and welcome to the Daily Ledger, a cover story, the phony Democrat highly staged town hall softball in Iowa. Questions were rigged, the spontaneity choreographed, and the messaging pure warmed-over socialism. Therefore, the Democrat audience loved it. And with less than a week until the caucuses in Iowa, Barack Obama in a pantsuit is locked in a virtual dead heat with the Marxist socialist from Vermont. An American Research Group poll of likely Democrat voters in Iowa. Bernie Sanders now at 48%, Hillary Clinton at 45%. Now, the margin of error is about 5%, so it's a virtual dead heat. And this poll was taken before Monday night's so-called town hall.
I've heard from quite a few people my age that they think you're dishonest, but I'd like to hear from you on why you feel the enthusiasm isn't there.
Well, I think it really depends upon who you're seeing and talking to. You know, today in Oskaloosa, I spent time with about 10 high school students who are enthusiastically working for me. I see young people across the state who are doing the same. But I'm totally happy to see young people involved in any way. I had no intention of doing anything other than having a convenient way of communicating, and it turned out not to be so convenient. So again, we've answered every question, and we will continue to do so. But you know, maybe being faster, trying to scramble around to find out what all of this means, I probably should have done that quicker.
You're willing to say it was an error in judgment? You should have apologized?
No, I'm not willing to say it was an error in judgment.
We are the only country on earth that allows private insurance companies to rip us off. We spend 3 times more than the British, 50% more than the French. We can do better than we're doing right now.
But just to be clear, you are going to raise taxes to do this?
Yes, we will raise taxes. Yes, we will.
Yes, he can. Now, at least Bernie is being honest. Hillary, on the other hand, is politically crafty enough to not let honesty get in the way of her divine coronation. But at this point, it appears Hillary's preordained trip to the Democratic National Convention is about as certain as electing as president a radical anti-free market socialist from Vermont. What a pair of candidates. Joining me now from Johns Creek, Georgia, political consultant with the Weathers Corp., Seth Weathers. Seth, pretty clear when you watch an event like Monday night, the so-called town hall in Iowa, that the Democrats largely are living in liberal fantasy land. I mean, climate change is a fact. Barack Obama's done a great job. The economy is great. Universal health care for all. When did I miss the memo of the Democrat Party turning into the Socialist Party of America?
I think Bernie's had the memo for a while, and he's been working hard to push it. And the sick thing about this, Graham, and thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate being here. The sick thing about this is what's happening with Bernie Sanders is he's actually going out and espousing what Democrats actually believe. And as you said, and to be honest, and to give him credit, Bernie is, I believe, an honest candidate. He's being honest about what his beliefs are. And if you get to where the Democrat Party is today, you get to a party that's a very, as Bernie refers to as Democrat Socialist or Socialist Democrat. And I think that people are seeing that. But the unfortunate thing is there's a lot of Democrats that love that. I mean, you see the support for Bernie. No one would have ever believed a Democrat socialist from Vermont would be where he's at today in the race.
No, and it's a sad indication of exactly where the Democrat Party in this country is in 2016. I mean, 50 years ago, he would have had to run in the Communist Party or the Socialist Party, but now he's embraced in the Democrat Party. But here's the question. Let's move on to the general election here. You know, one of these two gets the nomination, let's say, Bernie or Hillary, doesn't matter. How do you pivot and try and attract independent voters? Because, of course, in a general election, that's what most candidates or many candidates certainly are after, is the independent swing voters, if you will. How do you attract independent voters with a non-mainstream message like this?
I think they're going to find out that that can't happen. And I think that's why the Democrat Party has been doing what they have to control this race and try to keep Hillary there rather than Bernie. You know, I'm not sure if you watched the last debate. I'm pretty sure it was about 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning. But that's because they don't want to give the others an opportunity to have the face time of the public and to grow. And Bernie's managed to kind of go around that. He's used online well and social media and grown his presence. But you've got it's a very interesting race when you look at the fact that he's, as much as the Clinton machine has done to hold him back, he's still thriving and growing. And that to me is fascinating. And as you said, it's an indictment of the Democrat Party where it's at today. So I think that, but you're right, that's not going to hold with mainstream America. You're not going to have older voters, especially you look at the South, the SEC primary and other areas. They're not going to vote for a socialist, an openly socialist candidate for president. It's not going to happen. So I think that's why, when you hear Trump say and others, I would love to run against Bernie. They really would, because someone like Trump would absolutely destroy Bernie Sanders and Hillary in a general election.
I think anyone with a brain, I think anyone who embraces liberty and the United States Constitution could absolutely destroy Bernie Sanders. And by the way, he's welcome on this program anytime he wants to come on and talk the issues. Overall, though, the performance by Hillary Clinton, clearly she's bleeding politically in Iowa right now. The last poll we have is that she's trailing Bernie Sanders, which, who would have thunk that 6 months ago? But it is what it is. So overall, her performance, do you rate it strong? I think she came out very strong, very aggressive, right down to what she was wearing.
Yep, I agree with that, and I think she looked better than she has in the past. And I think after the little coughing fit they had at the event the previous day, that was very important to them. I think for her supporters and her voters, I think from that standpoint, I think she had a very strong evening. Now, obviously, from someone with a Republican perspective and just a perspective of speaking in honesty, which Hillary is greatly struggles with. I think from someone from that perspective, they're not going to be appreciated. But from the Democrat side, she did well. But the funny thing about if watching last night is poor Martin O'Malley. That guy, just not a shot in the world. He is as lost as can be, and the Democrat Party machine and the Clinton machine has done everything they can to keep him from having even the slightest chance of rising through the polls and through the process.
Okay.
And
well, some of what is dogging Hillary, of course, is her baggage. I like to call it baggage anyway. When we talk about the FBI investigation on the emails and the server, she just kind of shrugged that one off as just a mistake that she made. And on Benghazi, she tried to compare it to the slaughter of Americans back in 1983 in Beirut under Ronald Reagan. Now, I'm pretty sure, I was a lot younger in '83, but I'm pretty sure that Ronald Reagan didn't receive a phone call during that event saying, hey, we need help, and he didn't send help. I'm fairly certain that didn't happen.
That was truly the most disgusting part of last evening. And if there was anything offensive about that took place last night, outside of the fact that a socialist is, nearing a front runner in this race, is the fact that she made that comparison on our troops that were attacked in Beirut. I have family members that went down there after. And to say that is in any way related to what took place in Benghazi, do you think Ronald Reagan, as you said, would have left people in that moment? And to make that comparison shows how sick and twisted her view of everything's politics for her. Yep. It's not about what the reality of that night was there or in Benghazi. It's just politics to her. Okay. And I think she showed that with that callous statement. It's really sick.
I think you're dead on. Okay, to wrap up now, the FBI, there's a lot of chatter that an indictment is pending. Let's say there isn't an indictment at all, and the Obama Justice Department just sits on this. But the FBI information is there, and I think it's going to be leaked out one way or another. So Hillary Clinton is either going to be tried in court, I think, not necessarily right away, but certainly over time, or she's going to be tried in the court of public opinion. If this happens, if this starts happening, does she stay in the race or does she drop out?
Well, I mean, obviously, as you know, I would hope that she would drop out. But as to whether or not she has to or not, I think that this could reach a tipping point to where she's going to nearly be forced to drop out of the race, if not literally forced out. And so what that's going to do is you're going to have Bernie's not going to have the ability to win some of the states that Hillary could win that would be necessary. And as time goes on, the later this gets, it puts the Democrat Party in an awkward position. But I think when that opportunity arises for them, is at the Democratic convention, they're going to have to select a nominee if Hillary has had to back out of the race due to her illegal issues.
Yeah.
And I think that we all know that puts Biden up there. And to be honest, Biden's the strongest candidate of all the candidates that are running.
I think Hillary's going to go down fighting. I don't think no matter what happens with the FBI and its investigation and the DOJ, I think she's going to hang in there because she's waited 8 long years for this, and ain't nothing going to take it away. Seth, thank you for joining us. Coming up next, former Clinton White House aide Kathleen Willey on Hillary and the presidency. Also ahead, why selling human baby body parts is apparently morally and legally okay.
Recently filed a lawsuit against myself and CMP. And my response to that is game on, Planned Parenthood.